Hi, everyone. Welcome to episode 223 of the Immigration Lawyers Podcast. I'm with our great Canadian immigration lawyer colleague, Daniel Lee. We're about to talk about his article in Canadian immigration law from the third issue of the Immigration Lawyers Toolbox magazine. Please check it out by going to immigrationlawyerstoolbox.com/magazine. You can find previous issues and upcoming issues there as well. That's the central library where I keep it. You could always access it. I want to thank the sponsors, DocuWise in particular, who sponsor the show and the podcast for a long time in the magazine. DocuWise, the all-in form system and information office management, everything. They just keep adding stuff. So check it out. Go to DocuWise.com/immigration-lawyers-toolbox and get 10% off your annual plan by using the code Immigration Lawyers Toolbox. So they're wonderful with that. I also want to thank one of the sponsors of the magazine called Immigration the Right Way. Their assistant to help immigrants be able to connect and find lawyers and handle payments and all that. We did an interview with the CEO of Immigration the Right Way to describe what it is. The name for immigration lawyers might not fully explain what it is, but they really just help people find that can't afford lawyers, can't find lawyers, to find what suits them. So check it out, Immigration the Right Way. It'll be very helpful. And finally, if you're interested in learning U.S. immigration law, just email me. We have courses on that, info@immigrationlawyerstoolbox.com. With that, let's jump into it. Daniel, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Hey, John, thanks for having me, and I want to wish you and family a happy holidays. Hopefully, you
Thank
had a great
you.
Christmas.
Yeah, it's been good. Daycare is supposed to start this week again for the kids, and the school got people in the school got COVID, so they shut down. So the holidays is this stretch between Christmas and New Year's is not what I expected. Having the kids at home and work at the same time. We're making it work.
I think the most important thing is that everybody was staying safe or being healthy. Thank you so much for having me on today to just talk a little bit more about like, the Canadian immigration law and updates on that.
For sure. To start, let me know about yourself, how you got into immigration and what kind of immigration handle. Obviously Canadian, but you're in a firm and stuff like that, as opposed to being a sole practitioner. Let me know about yourself.
Oh, so I went to law school in Australia. While I was in Australia, I practiced Australian immigration law. I came back to Canada, and since 2015, I've been practicing business immigration. So I work with a large corporation. I help them with their global mobility. So I help them transfer their employees from overseas to work in Canada, and I also help them with their transition from their temporary foreign workers to apply for permanent residency. So that would be equivalent to applying for a green card in the US. And I also assist corporations with immigration compliance. Currently, I'm working at the international law firm Fasken. So Fasken is an international law firm based in Canada. We have offices in all major cities in Canada, from Vancouver to Toronto to Montreal. And I'm really happy to be able to work with great clients and to help clients with the global mobility needs during difficult times. And during the COVID pandemic, I also assist clients with travel restrictions and also exemptions from the quarantine requirements.
Now, do you still handle any Australian immigration law?
I don't practice Australian immigration law anymore, but I still try to keep myself up to date to changes in immigration policy. I found that the immigration policy between Australia and Canada are actually quite similar. So, for example, recently in Australia, they're focusing on talents, particularly for those in the IT industries. And Canada is also having a similar approach. So I think by looking at the different policies, directions of each country, it also assists in predicting what may happen in countries such as Canada.
Now, what is this? I mean, the systems look the same. You said they're similar. Is this the point system that we hear about?
Yeah. So let me give you a little bit more information about that point system. So in Canada, that point system is called Express Entry. Express Entry is a case management system for the purpose of immigrating to Canada as a permanent resident. So in Canada, unlike the US, for those who are skilled worker, they're able to immigrate directly without having a employer sponsor or a job offer in Canada. So under Express Entry, there are actually three different programs. The common ones that most people use is first one is called the Canadian Experience Class. The Canadian Experience Class is for those who have worked in Canada for 1 year in a skilled occupation. And then they also pass the English or French exam. So once you meet that basic requirement, then you create an online Express Entry profile. And depending on the points allocated to you, you may receive an invitation to apply for permanent residency. So points are awarded for your age, your education, your work experience, a number of different factors. So every 2 weeks, like there is a random draw. So if your points are high enough, you receive an invitation. Then you would have 60 days to submit a complete permanent application. These applications are usually processed within 60 minutes. So it's actually quite quick, a quick and efficient way to immigrate as residents. So from the Australian perspective, the program is actually called Skill Select. Canada implemented this program in about 2015, and it was originally a replication of the concept from Australia. So in Australia, it's also a point-based system, but instead what they have is like they have a list of occupations that they accept. But for Canada, instead we look at your job to see if it fall under the national occupation classification in category 0, A, or B. So in Canada, there's just a little bit more flexibility in terms of the occupations that can be accepted.
Now, one
Um,
other, yeah, sorry, go ahead.
no, no, John, I just
Just,
want to
yeah.
mention that currently right now, with the pandemic, a lot of people who want to immigrate under a separate category called the Federal Skilled Worker Program. So imagine someone's kind of like overseas right now, for example, like in the US or Australia or the UK, they want to use their foreign work experience to immigrate. But in the past, like 12 to 13 months, the Canadian government has not been issuing any invitation to apply or express entry for the Federal Skilled Worker Program. So a lot of time, like what they would need to do is to have a job offer to see if they're able to obtain a work permit. And then once they obtain a work permit, they could immigrate under the Canadian Experience class, because the Canadian government is really focusing on helping those who are currently in Canada during the pandemic to transition to permanent residency. So that's the focus for the upcoming few more months during the pandemic.
Yeah, there's a big switch to really the board. People are in Canada were getting hookups, but the ones outside were getting really bad end of the stick on that.
Yeah, I just give you like an interesting example. Typically speaking, like express entry, regardless if it's under the Federal Skilled Worker Program or the Canadian Experience class, the points required were usually quite high. It ranges between 450 to 470 points on average. But in February of this year, the minimum points required was actually just 75 points. So if you create a profile, you have 75 points, you would have received an invitation to apply for permanent residency. And the intention behind that was the government really wanted to reach the annual immigration quota of over 400,000 new immigrants. So in order for the Canadian government to achieve that, they gave out invitations to almost everyone. And for that reason, that's why sometimes we recommend to client that your points may not be competitive, but because we're still in a pandemic and there's no sight of when the pandemic may be over, the best thing to do is to just meet basic program requirement and have that profile there. That profile is valid for 12 months and it doesn't cost any money to create a profile.
It goes to show with immigration, we have clients who have no chance today, and then tomorrow, a flip of a switch, everything changes. It's all over the world. This stuff happens. Now, you didn't mention the flexibility that Canada has, and not only is it in the law itself for people, different kinds of people to be able to get green cards or status, Canadian status, but there's a flexibility in the practice of immigration law, which I think non-lawyers could openly, as agents, practice immigration law. There, is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct, John. That's a really good question that you raised. So in Canada, there are two different professions that can practice immigration law. First is lawyers. So lawyers who are called to a bar in a province or a territory in Canada, they can practice law, all including immigration law. And we also have a profession called like immigration consultants. So immigration consultants who go to school, they do a 1 year program. Right now, the program has been changed to a 2 year program now. That started this year. So once they finish that 2 year program, they would then write their licensing exam. After the pass exam, they can provide immigration service to client. The only restriction immigration consultant has is they can't represent client in federal court. So they can do like all the applications, they can do the appeal to the immigration regulatory. Um, in addition, like in the province of Ontario, there's an occupation called paralegals. Paralegals is they are licensed in the province of Ontario, but not in any other provinces. So for those who are licensed in Ontario, they can also practice immigration law. They have a limited scope, and their scope is limited to providing appeals within the Immigration Refugee Board.
So, you work at a bigger firm that probably has a funnel of clients, corporate clients that come in, so you may not be as affected by this, but how does that affect your practice in the sense of getting clients, them arguing about the fees when they, potentially an agent's going to probably charge less than a lawyer, maybe not. In the US, the people
Mhm.
who take on the agency role sometimes charge more. But how do you see the competition that comes from these in your day-to-day practice?
Yeah, that's a really interesting question. I think like different clients have different um, ability to pay for their fee. Working for a bigger law firm, our clients are able to pay the higher fee because they're paying for the quality of service and attention to detail. And they're using our law firm not just for immigration, but using our law firm for like all of their legal services. So what we do provide to them is a one-stop convenience. So we're able to do the corporate work, do the litigation work for them, employment law, and also immigration. And we also have a good understanding in their business. When we work with like larger clients, they come to us because we have a immigration compliance focus. We're not just focusing on getting your work permit application out the door so the individual can come to your country and work as soon as possible. But we're focusing on the long term. What can we do to help that executive or that senior manager or that specialized knowledge worker to transition to becoming a resident? So when we have that consultation, we're not just looking at work option, we're looking at a transition plan for them to become a permanent resident. Um, for immigration consultants, sometimes there are two types. Like some they may charge lower prices and they compete on prices. Others they could also charge really high prices because they may specialize in particular type of immigration application. So we don't really view like each other as competitors because we have different markets that we're serving. I think one good thing about the immigration bar or the immigration community in Canada is we try to be supportive. So regardless if we're immigration lawyers, immigration consultants, or paralegals in Ontario, we try to work together and try to help each other because at the end of the day, we believe that if we all have knowledge is required, then we can best provide the ideal services to our client.
Yeah, that's definitely the case. One of the things about the immigration toolbox is open information. If someone's going to practice immigration, whether lawyer or not, whether without permission, or not, at least you want them to do it right. That's the mess up people's lives
Yes.
because it can be so bad. So how was practice in the age of COVID for you? I'm guessing you don't go to the office. Canada's shutdowns have been pretty severe, at least with the border and stuff.
Yeah, like the cases right now, like in Canada, is quite severe. For example, like in British Columbia, like there's average like over like 1,000 cases per day in Ontario, 10,000 new cases per day. What we try and
10,000
do
per
right
day.
now,
Wow.
yeah, yeah, it's actually quite severe if you consider like the population is just like 1/10 the size of the U.S. So in terms of the number of cases we're getting, it's quite severe. I'm mostly working from home right now. I try to go to office like once a week because with immigration files, sometimes we do have to submit like paper applications still for some of our clients. So I think the most important thing is like to even though like we may be working remotely, but have like regular meetings. So with my team member, like we check in with each other, and sometimes like we just give each other a call and see how each other are doing. And sometimes like in Christmas time, like we just send each other a little e-card or a gift card for Starbucks. And little things like that just shows that you're a team, even though we're working remotely. Hopefully, like for yourself too, like you're able to work at home well as well, because I know the cases in LA are quite severe.
Yeah, luckily, from the beginning when I started my firm, I made it into a home office kind of thing and would only go for interview for consultations to see people, or if I needed to go to an immigration, interview with USCIS. But as soon as COVID happened, I was happy. I'm like, okay, people got used to Zoom, and now I don't do any office work outside this little room I'm in right here. And I try to take only cases where I don't have to appear. Sometimes there's interviews that I do have to appear with, so I'll go, but less and less. And a lot of times people don't need it, so I say you can go without me. Although I say that
Mm.
sometimes and I regret it because they'll have a clean case, but they go to the interview and the officer creates problems that don't exist. So it's good to have a lawyer there to kind of watch out for things. But the transition was simple enough for me just because of it was a solo shop, and now I have an associate. She's across the country. It's all we do everything by video, so it was easier. But I know when you're in a big corporate area like firm and stuff like that, there's just a lot more moving parts, and changes is a little harder to have people go back to home. Like at your firm, how many immigration lawyers are there?
We have 800 lawyers in total, like within our law firm, but our immigration practice is a little bit smaller. We have currently 5 lawyers right now practicing immigration law, but we also have a large support team that helps us.
Is it all Canadian, or do you have U.S. immigration practice in there too?
Right now, we're just practicing Canadian immigration law. We find like the advantage of just focusing on Canadian immigration law is whenever we need assistance, we can work with a lot of great U.S. immigration lawyers from the U.S. And we enjoy that relationship more than to bring in a U.S. immigration lawyer in our law firm at this time.
Cool. So, how many years have you been practicing now?
I've been practicing since 2015, so I've been practicing for some years now. So it's gonna be 8 years starting January next year. Time passes
Wonderful.
by fast.
And how do you like it? I mean, what direction are you taking things? Obviously, you work at your firm, you like your firm and stuff, but do
Mhm.
you have any long-term plans of just are you sticking with immigration, or are you going to be moving, or what kind of stuff do you have planned out? Especially for, I guess, starting with
Yeah,
2022.
yeah. I really enjoy immigration, and the emphasis for my practice has always been on corporate immigration, which is working with companies to obtain like work permit for for employees or for new hires. I in the past couple of years, I've been shifting and do a little bit more like immigration compliance work. The Canadian government's focusing on compliance more. Um, I what I really enjoy immigration is like immigration changes rapidly. So if you enjoy learning and stay up to date with immigration law, this is a good area to be in. A little bit similar like U.S. immigration law too. Like there's so many constant changes, but those changes just means like there could be new opportunities for new clients where opportunity may not exist in the past. And hopefully like in the future like I can also spend a little bit of time in teaching immigration law like in law school. John, I realized that you taught immigration in law school before, and how was that experience like while practicing law?
It was good. I mean, to do it right, you have to spend a lot of time on it, and I think I wasn't doing it fully right. To create the curriculum, be prepared to talk about every immigration topic, especially ones I don't do, like asylum or court was harder. I'd bring guest speakers in, but it takes a lot of time to do it, and there's not much money in it. It's really about passion, and I was really passionate about it. But after a while, I realized like I'm not doing the best job, and to be frank, and because it's just so much more. I can like plan out my like course and have quizzes and all this kind of stuff. And my thing was I like keeping it real. I just going to talk to kids about the business of immigration law and what cases make money, what don't, and like how to do this and that. And in law school, the mindset is primarily graduating, passing the bar, and get going with it. So a lot of the kids were turned off. A lot of the students who came to my courses were focused on humanitarian stuff, which is not my focus
Yeah.
at all. So the final straw was we started doing courses by Zoom because COVID happened, and I found
Yeah.
myself just sitting in a room talking to myself for 2 hours a week, and I was like, okay, this is not fun at all anymore. At least I like the interaction, seeing people's faces, and having 40
Mhm.
people in a Zoom video where I can't focus on anything was hard. So I just shut off the video so I didn't see anybody, and then it just was weird sitting here talking for 2 hours alone, even though I do that with the podcast all the time.
Yeah, I feel like you have always been really passionate in teaching and be able to like help people develop their own immigration practice, and you probably went through like personal experience, and that experience taught you certain skill set and how to run an immigration law firm, like how to find clients, how to manage clients' expectation. I think like you should continue on teaching immigration law, but have like a special topic within that course, maybe like towards the middle of semester or the end of semester, and talk about the practice of immigration law as a topic for one day. And then the rest of the time, it could be focusing on the family class or focusing on green card application options.
Yeah.
I think like that could develop a certain interest for you down the road.
Yeah, I have to propose it to the law schools. I was at Loyola and at Pepperdine. I have other
Yeah.
professors. One of a friend took my position. Maybe having it as like a two person course. She does the majority of the course she's into, and I do a unit where I talk about the stuff I like to talk about. But it's good. Instead, I started courses where I teach lawyers or new graduates or existing immigration lawyers or people coming immigration law about different topics. I found that really satisfying because when they ask questions, they didn't need to know because they had a consultation, they didn't know the answer. We go through it together. It gets a
Yeah.
lot of fun. And so I have courses like that and office hours for that. It's just more practical than getting down to business. But I'll probably be going back. I have a course for K1 fiance visas I'm gonna finish up, and that's I was supposed to finish up in November, and now it's January starting. But I have like a marriage course, and I record CLEs with lawyers that do different topics, continuing education stuff because I'm like Immigration Lawyers Toolbox is a CLE provider in California, so for continuing education. So one thing is one of my courses that I used to do, I don't do anymore, is how to do marketing and get business. And part of that course, I was just practicing different techniques so I could tell my students. And all the techniques started working really well, and the office got really busy in 2021 in particular. So all of a sudden, I was like, okay, business is going really good for the law firm. I was thinking about
Mhm.
stopping the law firm and going to do the training and toolbox kind of stuff. But the law firm's still having fun. So I decided to go from full solo to get associate, started getting some paralegals to support, and just managing a business like that now. So it's a big shift for me happening in 2022 where I'm becoming less and less hands on and trusting other people to help me. And that lack of trust or be able to trust is hard for me, but it was a big mistake. I should have done this like 4 years ago or something like that. But it took me a while.
Mhm. I feel like our conversation today, like there's a new market for you in the U.S., which is providing immigration consulting services to immigration lawyer, helping them on challenging cases because you have been practicing immigration law for a number of years now, and you're really experiencing what you're doing. I hopefully that could be a new area that you can consider for the new year.
Yeah, that is something I'm doing. And even for the toolbox, I've been delaying this, but like yourself, a lot of people who contribute articles, I'm going to make a page, a consultancy page, so other immigration attorneys, because U.S. people, U.S. lawyers need a Canadian lawyer. They don't know anybody, but you have
Yeah.
a video now, you have an article, so you present yourself, how knowledgeable you are and how personal you are, and you have a page where people consult and make a hub for people to find consulting. And for my things I know really well, like marriage and immigration and intercompany transfers, which is my focus. I could do
Mhm.
consulting on that. It is part of the plans. It's just on the long to do list. And my failure was that I didn't have a team, and now I realize the importance of having a team to be able to carry out bigger goals and plans and strategies. So a
Yeah.
lot of it for me is building up a team that can help me execute, and then just executing. But as a game plan, not just for myself, again, like to support the people who help the toolbox to get them business too through consulting.
Yeah. There's one thing that I learned like over the years, like we may be part of like a team even though like we're not working within the same law firm or the same
Mhm.
company. Is I found like within the immigration part in the US, like there's so many talented people. Like some may be focusing on developing um, immigration softwares to ensure
Yeah.
these application forms can be pre-filled, like having like artificial intelligence. Other, including like yourself, you have really good substantial knowledge in immigration law, and you're really good with business development. So when different individuals work together, they can actually help each other succeed. And I think like your initiative, like with the Immigration Lawyer podcast and the Immigration Lawyer Toolbox, that's just such fantastic resources for all immigration practitioner, not just in the states but also globally.
Yeah, and the global aspect is something that's going to be another push in 2020. It's a small community we have that we really all we have is each other to help support each other because anything we do that's positive for our clients is going to be positive for the practice and future business and all that kind of stuff. So it's a wonderful area we kind of all fell into, and so much support. People who listen always reach out and share this stuff, and so I'm really happy. And I really appreciate. And I reached out to you and contributed a wonderful article on the entertainment aspect of immigrating to Canada to fit within the O&A theme of the previous issue. And I look forward to having you in the magazine on the program again.
Thank you, John. It has such been a great opportunity for us to chat a little bit and get to know a little bit about each other's practice. And I look forward to like more opportunities to work together on similar projects.
Definitely keep me posted. I'm gonna end the recording. We'll talk for a few minutes off because I want to talk about plans. But thank you so much for coming on. If someone wanted to reach out to you and connect with you, what's the best way that they could do that?
The best thing to do is to send me an email. My email address is dalee@fasken.com.
That's
So it's
yeah.
FASKEN.com.
The first part was DALEE.
Yeah, DALEE at
You have a middle name?
Fasken. So they just put it like that for me. I don't know why they
Okay,
put
because
it.
the Daniel, it's a DA of the Daniel, and then LEE for your last name. Okay, okay,
Yeah,
that's good.
Fasken.
Thank you, everybody, for watching. We'll definitely stay
Mhm.
tuned to hear a lot more from Daniel. I appreciate it. If you are interested in reading his article, download you can just access the magazine at immigrationlawyerstoolbox.com/magazine, where you'll find his article and a lot more and upcoming articles and magazines too. Thanks so much, Daniel.
Thanks everyone.